So just to remind you, this is what the last or outgoing model Malibu looks like. This is a 14 through 15, I believe, and with the 16 coming in with the new model year. So basically, I was actually impressed with the amount of space that they had put into the new cars, because they had redesigned it just a little bit, and they had started putting more space in since like 2009. So some of you will be tempted to go with a 14 or 15 instead of a 16, depending upon how the dealer's incentives go. Some dealers will be under pressure to move the older models before they move the newer models. So if that is the case, I can honestly say that the Malibu continues to be a very good mid-size sedan. It's been getting relatively good reviews and whatnot. And the improvements that have been made have made it a far more friendly, car for small families. Like if you're just a family of 4 or 5. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I wish that the Chevy Volt had the amount of interior space that the new Malibu and the outgoing Malibu have. If the Chevy Volt had this much space, this would be a solid choice for a consumer car for a family of 5. As it stands, the current Volt is basically no good if you're a family of 5, especially if you have like a child seat. It's just too compact. So hopefully GM will get smart and they'll make these things bigger, because that would definitely help the case for a Chevy Volt. So this is the 2016 Chevy Malibu. Just in case you had any question on your mind as to whether or not it was a Malibu, it says Malibu right there on the side. In big letters, Malibu. So basically, the car has had a more aerodynamic refresh. As you can see, a very aerodynamic beak. The side mirrors, more aerodynamic, lower profile. Looks good. See, the thing about it is all of these cars, these small front-wheel drive cars, and even the all-wheel drive small cars, they're all starting to look alike. They all take on this it's not the bustle back from BMW. It's more looking like, what do you call it? The Audi 4-door coupe look that they got off of Mercedes CLS, or coupe-like sedan. So now everything has one of these backs where it looks smooth. Some cars have the fastback design. But my only thing is, it's like if you're going to go for a back like this, then what you really got to have is you have to have a whole liftgate just like the Audi A7. I mean, it only makes sense, right? So basically, what are you looking at? This is the LT model. That's a 2016 LT. So the standard price on one of these is $25,000. Once you put these options in, it's $27,985. Now, to get around offering standard navigation, what they have is Apple Carplay, just like I saw in that Volt. So Apple CarPlay pretty much allows you to use Apple Maps, Apple Music, Apple iTunes, etc., etc., etc. So in my opinion, actually, it's a pretty awesome system. And for people who are unfortunate enough to be stuck on Android, they're going to want something like CarPlay, so that this way they can use their Android phones to get features as cool as we iPhone users have. Unfortunately, they'll never have features as cool or as stable as iPhone users. So they'll just be stuck with that Android stuff. So basically you get your Chevy MyLink system, and everything is exactly like it was in the Volt. It feels good. There's a lot of space in here. Like there's this manual tilt telescoping steering wheel. I don't know if the power one will give you as much play, but it looks pretty good. Materials are pretty decent. Fold down back seat. It's exactly what I saw in the Volt, pretty much. It's a typical standard Chevy product. It looks like they're trying to make everything just like Apple, which is probably a good idea. So, so basically it's easy to use, simple turn up, turn down volume, turn off volume, and turn off the radio and everything. Looks good. You get your Pandora apps. So it's basically, once you hook this to an iPhone, it's perfect, you know? And I really like that they did that. It's about time they did that. Heated and cooled seats would also be nice, but this model doesn't offer them right now. So there's 2 USBs there. There's a power inverter under here. USBs in the back. Very nice car, very nice. This is the back seat of the car. That's the light. Right here, you see the volting outlet and everything. Now, how much space is there back here? Well, basically, if you're sitting in the back of this new Malibu, there's a whole lot of space, especially if you're dealing with average height drivers. Even if you're dealing with me as the driver, and you can see that my knees have about that much space between my knees and the chair. Now, if you tilt it a little bit further back, you lose a little bit of space there, but I'd have to say this car feels roughly about the same interior space as the Hyundai Sonata. And as you know, the new Sonata is a pretty damn big car. Now, there are a lot of features you can get. Like, for instance, you can have headrest TVs and all that stuff installed and everything. And, you know, that's the Chevy MyLink system right there. There's a couple of models of this. This right now is inside because it was cold outside, so I wanted to just show you what it looks like. But basically, all the cars coming with that feature, that helps to break up the monotony of the plastic on the dashboard, like in the 14 and 15 that I showed you that didn't come with the nav system. It's really nice that GM is putting a system like that in these cars. So basically, the Malibu has a lot of space. As you can see, I'm very comfortable in the back. There's plenty of headroom, and I'm a very tall person. I'm about 6'7" almost. So there's a lot of headroom, a lot of backseat space. I can ride comfortably in this car for a little while. Now, you know, as far as headroom goes, yeah, my head gets pinched a little. It gets a little bit of a pinch at the top if I sit straight up. So if I had to sit like perfectly upright, my head is scratching the top. But other than that, I would say headroom is actually pretty good in the front and the back. So this car is very similar in interior dimensions to the Hyundai Sonata. And that's a really good thing because both of these cars start about $25,000-26,000 and they escalate from there. I would also say that this car has more backseat space for if you have like an average driver in it. This car has at least as much or more than a Dodge Charger, because see, the Dodge Charger and the Chrysler 300 have rear-wheel drive platforms, and they didn't extend the platform like they did with the Hyundai Genesis. So backseat in the Malibu, backseat in the Sonata is actually going to be more forgiving to equally tall people than the backseat in the Charger or 300. But I keep saying it because I like to give credit where credit's due. The Hyundai Genesis is one of the few cars, along with the Impala, but the Hyundai Genesis is one of the few cars that you can get rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, and you can get massive space up front and back. However, because of the price difference, this car is in the $26,000 range, or at least starts there. The Genesis starts in the $40,000 range. So I would have to say, if you need a very spacious car for you and your family, this is one of the cars I'd look at, and then there's the Hyundai Sonata. Ford's Fusion is not as big as this. Now, I don't know what they're going to do for the future, how big it's going to be later on, but the Fusion isn't this big inside. The Malibu is a very, very nice, spacious car. So if you have a family of 5, like 2 kids plus a child seat, this is where you're going to want to be. Now, as you know, I've been constantly saying that what I wanted to see was a Volt-based Malibu, or I wanted to see the Chevy Malibu made larger. So now that size really isn't a concern for the Malibu, since it's just as big, if not bigger, than the Hyundai Sonata, which is also a very large car that's decent for affordable money. See, my main concern is if you're running an Uber business, you need cars like this that get very good gas mileage, and you have to have lots of space for your clients and customers, people who patronize your business. Now, I was noticing that Car and Driver just did a short review on the Malibu Hybrid, and they had pretty much good things to say about it. The main details to me were the estimated base price, which is $28,000. So if you're not adding a navigation system and all that stuff like a moonroof navigation system, $28,000 gets you in like with about $30,000 when you factor in New York City and New York State taxes and whatnot. I don't know how much it is in your state because everybody lives different places. This thing is going to start at $28,000. So you figure with $35,000, you can get the goodies, like you can get the nav system, you get better interior trim, you could get moonroof. And I love having those things because it really helps people who sitting in the back feel better about the ride and everything. So this way they like to patronize you more. That allows you to make more money. But they have a 16 valve 1.8 liter engine, and they have a AC electric motor hooked to a new lithium battery system. And basically the car is about the same size. It weighs 3,700 pounds, gets 0 to 60 in 7.5 seconds. Here in New York City, especially in Manhattan, the speed limits have been set ridiculously low to 25 miles per hour. Anything higher than that, especially like 10 miles over, is enough to set off the cameras that take a picture of your bumper, and then you get a ticket in the mail. So basically, speed is not my concern when buying all of these little cars like this. Speed is absolutely not a concern. Only when I buy SRT products, like when I get my Hellcat, is speed a concern. But problem is, you really can't drive those things around here easily. But basically what they're saying is, if you don't want the base Malibu, which I showed you already starts about $25,000, $26,000, if you're willing to pay about $3,000 more as a starting price, you can get into this Malibu, this new lithium battery equipped Malibu hybrid. And EPA estimates are 48 miles to a gallon by 45 miles per gallon. So you're talking about city 48, 45 highway. So basically they assume that you're doing more braking and stopping, which helps recharge the car using the regenerative brakes. A lot of these hybrids that use regenerative braking technology, they get higher fuel economy when they're in the city rather than on the highway, because when you're on the highway, you're doing more coasting, you're not stopping as much. So these are all estimates, but I'm pretty sure that if they say 48, I'm pretty sure some people will easily hypermile it to past 50. And I don't see a 50 mile per hour average as being out of the way for something that's getting 48 when they test it hard like that. So that's actually a car to look forward to. Like when I did the Malibu review of the 2013, the first one that I actually drove was the Eco Malibu. So I'm actually anxious to see that new Malibu as soon as it comes into the dealership. So that would be really, really awesome. But what I really like about this new Malibu is the fact that it seats 5 people. Yeah, ignore this Norton antivirus thing. These things are so annoying. When you get a new computer, sometimes a lot of people, they uninstall that stuff from their hard drive. I don't use it at all. I really don't need it. I just create restore points, and I've never had a problem because I don't download all that crazy stuff. But anyway, I'm really anxious to see the Malibu hybrid, and I'd really like to drive and make a video of that one, because the current Malibu, the current Volt, they're good cars, but my problem is the Volt is just too small to be a serious competitor, and I really think that any Volt sales, except for its looks and if somebody really wants a compact size, I really think that the Chevy Volt is going to suffer a lot of conquest sales over to the Malibu hybrid, specifically because this is a 5-seater family size sedan, and I think more people are going to appreciate that, especially at this relatively decent price.